Every train enthusiast has their favorite locomotives, and I am no exception. So I'm going to go over my top 5 favorite steam locomotives. We will go from least to most favorite in this video. Some of these locomotives will be obvious, while some may need to be explained so that you understand. Before we start the video, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for supporting me on my YouTube journey. I couldn't have made it this far without any of you. Remember that this is my personal opinion, so you might not agree with some of my choices, which is fine. I respect your opinions, so I hope you all respect mine. We're getting close to the end of the year, so this will be my last video of 2024. So let's finish 2024 off with this video. I guarantee that you all will enjoy it. Let's begin! Number 5. The Union Pacific Big Boys. The Union Pacific Big Boys were 25 4884 steam locomotives built for the Union Pacific Railroad between 1941 and 1944. They were used primarily for heavy freight service in their prime and could haul thousands of tons unassisted. They could manage an impressive 6,290 horsepower and muster up an impressive tractive effort of over 133,000 pounds of force. In 1959, they were all retired, with 17 of them being cut up for scrap, leaving 8 survivors. 7 of them are on static display, while 1 of them is currently running excursion trains. In fact, Big Boy number 4014 is the sole operational example of its class. Well, let's talk about why the Big Boys rank 5th. There is one reason in particular why the Big Boys make it into my top 5. The main reason is because of the personal history I've had with the locomotive. You see, I used to be obsessed with Big Boy, and I have a few good memories involving Big Boy. Years ago, I once heard its whistle in the middle of the night, despite the fact that it wasn't actually there. About 1 to 2 years later, I got to see 4014 in person and even recorded a video of it leaving my area. However, my personal history with Big Boy is the only main reason why it makes it onto this list. If not for my personal history with the Big Boys, I doubt they'd even make it to my top 10. But let's move on. Number 4. The Denver and Rio Grande L97 Challengers. The Denver and Rio Grande L97 Challengers were a class of 64664 steam locomotives that the DNRGW had been given by the Union Pacific Railroad after some convincing. They were almost identical in design to their Union Pacific counterparts, with the exception of their modified heating surface areas. They were given back to the Union Pacific after the end of World War II. A year later, in July 1947, the Union Pacific sold them to the Clinchfield, which redesigned them as E3s and renumbered them 670 to 675. They were all retired in August 1953 due to the rise of dieselization. None of them made it to preservation. Now, you're probably wondering why these challengers rank higher on my list than the big boys. Allow me to explain. The main reason why the DNRGW challengers make it to fourth is because of my extensive research on them and my frequent usage of them in trains. Plus, I think they are somewhat underrated. But let's continue. Number 3. The New York Central Niagaras. The New York Central Niagaras are considered the ultimate steam locomotives by many railroad experts. 27 of them were built in 1945 and they were often used in passenger service, although they proved quite useful with freight trains as well. They were capable of accelerating up to 90 miles per hour within the span of 2 minutes while pulling a 20-car passenger train, and were rumored to be capable of up to 120 miles per hour. Unfortunately, their efficiency and versatility wasn't enough to save them from the inevitability of dieselization. They were all retired and scrapped between 1951 and 1956. Well, let's talk about why they make it to third place. The Niagaras were one of the many steam locomotives that threw down the gauntlet against diesels, and they fought their fate to the very end. Although they're no longer around anymore, they still deserve their title as the ultimate steam locomotives for their versatility and their reliability. So the Niagaras deserve their spot in third place, and they will remain there for a while. Let's continue on. Number 2. The Pennsylvania Railroad S1. The Pennsylvania Railroad S1 was a one-off steam locomotive built in 1939 for heavy passenger service. It had a unique 6-4-4-6 wheel arrangement and was the longest reciprocating steam locomotive ever built, measuring up to 140 feet long. It was so long that even a big boy fails to match its length. The S1 also was given the nickname the Big Engine because of its size. It could produce a whopping 7,200 horsepower at 100 miles an hour and pull 1,200 plus ton trains at speeds of and even above 100 miles an hour. The S1 was capable of at least 120 miles per hour, but was rumored to have hit speeds of 156 miles per hour. Unfortunately, the S1 was retired in 1946 and scrapped in 1949. But let's talk about why it ranks second on my list. To me, the S1 represents the peak of the Penske's ambition and how far they wanted to go with the duplex concept. It may not have been the best of the duplex locomotives, but it sure was one of the most iconic and stylish. And because of its stylish design and phenomenal potential, the S1 sits pretty in second on my list. Let's continue. Before we continue to number 1, I'd like to go over some honorable mentions. But now, here's the moment you all have been waiting for. My number one favorite steam locomotive. That locomotive is none other than the New Haven I-5 Hudson. The I-5 Hudson was a class of 10 steam locomotives built in 1937 for a railroad called the New York, New Haven, and Hartford Railroad. They were used to pull passenger trains such as the Merchants Limited. They could pull 12-car, 830-ton passenger trains over the Sharon Heights 0.6 to 0.7% grades at speeds of 60 miles per hour. Although the I-5s were reliable, their full potential was never truly utilized due to speed restrictions. To make matters worse, the I-5s were all withdrawn and scrapped in 1951 due to the rise of diesel power. To this day, their true capabilities remain a total mystery. But let's talk about why they're number one to me. To understand my passion, let me tell you a story. Years ago, I first learned of this locomotive in a video about extinct steam locomotives. Given that I was young and dumb, I didn't pay much attention to it and even forgot it existed for a while. Fast forward to 2023 and I found this DLC in Trainz Driver 2. I didn't think too much of it at first and was under the impression that it was meant to be a substitute for the New York Central Dreyfuss Hudson, which I was more interested in then. However, I decided to give it a chance. I took it for a drive in easy mode with a 7-car passenger train. I can't tell you how disappointed I was when it only managed to reach 90 miles per hour. However, I gave it a try in realistic mode. I was shocked by how fast it could go. I decided to race the I-5 against other locomotives, including Mallory. I was shocked to find that almost every locomotive was incapable of beating the I-5. And because of this, the I-5 almost instantly became my favorite steam locomotive. While they may not be the most famous locomotives, the New Haven I-5s make it to number one on my list because of my personal history with them in the virtual world of trains and how underrated I think they are. I'd like to thank all of you for watching this video. You guys mean a lot to me because you're like my YouTube family. Your support has encouraged me to be better and do better. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's to everyone.